Jazz Bounce. Felipe here, one more record review. Yes, most people must be getting their copies as of now, as of this weekend, past couple of days. Analog Productions finally released the long-awaited Birth of the Blue. Birth of the Blue contains only 4 tracks. These tracks are the very first session of the Miles Davis Sextet that in 1959 recorded Kind of Blue. This is a May 1958 session. Let's go a little deeper into that, but first let's try to understand the story behind it. How did we get here, right? So Miles in 1957, late 57, he comes back from France, he comes back from Europe. His quintet, so successful, Prestige, was not together anymore. He had already moved to Colombia, had released records like Round About Midnight, Miles Ahead, and Milestones. So he was envisioning something else. Kind of Blue will be the model record that will define that type of style, genre. He was not the only one working on that. Many people in many cities, different places. There's a good testimony of McCoy Tyner, even outside of New York, saying we were also looking for this sound. Miles, he wanted to reunite his great sextet, the folks that he liked to play with. Coltrane at this point, he was playing with Monk, had just finished playing with Monk. He was available. He was in a great physical shape, had developed his style in raw initial manner. Cannonball Adderley, Jimmy Cobb. Miles was a little uncertain about Jimmy Cobb because Miles was really, really crazy about Philly Joe and the way he would hit the whims of the drums, the Philly Joe beat that he annoyed so many drummers in his quintets about it. Paul Chambers and Bill Evans. But he was actually at the same time hopeful that this rhythm section was going to be the one, that they were going to play well together. Bill Evans, he was already a model. He was someone that came from school, an academic environment, conservatory. So he was already also into modal, not only by himself, but also playing with George Russell, right? It was this interchange there. Miles modal by being a performer, and Bill Evans model from an academic point of view. So for this session here, they recorded 4 tracks on Green Dolphin Street, Stella by Starlight, Friends Dance, and Love for Sale. Love for Sale is also on something else, of course. Friends Dance is the only Miles Davis original here. He had first seen her at Porgy and Bess, the play, dancing. So he was very attracted to that. He really liked that. So he named a song after her. So this session happened in May of 1958. They got together, played these 4 tracks. These 4 tracks can be found in many comps on Green Dolphin Street, except for in Green Dolphin Street. 3 of them were used in the release of Jazz Tracks, which is a very popular Miles comp from that time. And they were also put in as a B-side to the 10-inch of L'Ascenseur pour les Chauffeurs, which the soundtrack that everybody knows. There's a many variations of that. There's a great Sam Records reissue, that 10-inch. Beautiful music, beautiful movie as well. I highly recommend watching the movie. L'Ascenseur pour les Chauffeurs is a classic of film noir. The songs can be found in many iterations there. The interesting thing about this release is to put the 4 of them together in a single album. But after they recorded this, they took a hiatus. Bill Evans also playing with his trio. Jimmy Cobb gets sick. He comes back. He comes to the band later. So, and in the meantime, he records with Gil Evans, Porgy and Bess. For Porgy and Bess, he uses Bill Evans. He uses Paul Chambers and Jimmy Cobb. The saxophones are not included. Miles wanted something to be more subtle. He thought the saxophones would be too overwhelming for Porgy and Bess. And by the way, Porgy and Bess, when he worked that with Gil Evans, Porgy and Bess was already, in a certain way, a model, because all those songs were mostly developed over scales and not chords. So comes November, Bill Evans quits. Many theories, many ideas about that. 2 things very, very, very clear. So he wanted to have his own band, play with his own folks. And there was also all these stories about, he didn't want to be the only white guy in that band. He felt uncomfortable. There were many people saying things about him. So at the end, he wanted to be with his trio. So he quits in November. Comes February, Miles hires Wynton Kelly, with with a very distinct approach from Evans, but he proves to be very successful in the years to come. And Wynton Kelly was actually hired instead of Joe Zawinul. So Miles get to know Joe Zawinul since the late 50s. And he would later join him from the late 60s recordings, his Electric Phase, Bitches Brew. Also, we have to remember, if you guys check the Miles Box 54 the Craft just put out or saw our video, the review, or the interview with Nick Phillips, Swing Spring released in 54 was already a modal tune, even before Milestones. So importance of modal, what helped shake the sound of this band, was allowed for longer solos, more song development, because they were not stuck into chords. This recording here reflects, if you listen to those songs, they're not modal, of course, but they're not so like straight ahead hard bop that what we expect. There's some development in there. There's beautiful, beautiful solos. It's a hint. I think it's a clever idea to put those together. You know, the idea here is not to say, "Oh, I already have those." No, it's the way they put this together in the sound presentation. I think it makes it unique. It's absolutely great. So here's the cover. It comes in it's not a glossy finish, but it's very heavy and thick cardboard. Here's a picture in the back. A nice gatefold with great liner notes by Ashley Kahn, going track by track, emphasizing the history behind it, how they got here, how the session worked, the songs, and the packing. There are two variations of this record here. Both are sold out right now, but starting January, there will be a rerun of the black ones. Unnumbered, but they will be available. So don't worry, don't overpay. It is coming back. This is an example of the number ones. Okay, they did a really nice job here, like emulating the old cover from the 59 Columbia. So this is the record that I got. I was lucky enough to get one of those blue variations, which plays perfect, flat, heavy. It's a great job. So the way this record was conceived, they mix the original tape. The original 3-track tape was mixed down to 2-track tape, and that was then mastered and cut by Matthew Luthens at the mastering lab at 30 IPS. So lastly, how do the Sonics perform on this album, on this release, on this record, Bird to the Blue by Analog Productions? Well, either if you have a black or a blue pressing, any flavor you got, you can expect what you always get from Analog Productions. Vinyl came really nice, flat, well cut. It's absolutely silent. Drop that background, right? Can expect that. Music-wise, I think it is superior from any other version of the songs, any other presentations I heard of the songs. He has a sort of a wider soundstage compared to previous versions. I hear the horns more towards the sides, bass piano nicely centered, drums nice. Is how everything is so nicely detailed. You can hear Paul Chambers' notes quite clearly. They're not muddy, they're fast, they're snapping, they're there. I always like to sort of check like brushwork. I think brushwork reveals a lot of detail. It's hard to distinguish quite clearly, and this record it came beautiful. The cymbals they extend really nice. And the horns, they just feel it's a sound that say, of course, it's the same band as Kind of Blue in the same studio, perhaps not as carefully recorded as it was recorded for the release Kind of Blue that we all know so well. Just like the ceilings of that church where they were, right? And I think this captures, so it reminisces, it kind of relates to the sound of Kind of Blue. If you like Kind of Blue, it's there. It kind of reminds me of that. Reminds, I think, anyone of that. So I think again, it's a release that has those 4 tracks only. The first rehearsal, the first meeting of this newly formed sextet that Miles was preparing for his 59 masterpiece recording, kind of blue. Here we have hints of that. It's not like such. There's space for the solos again. You can feel like a band developing. Although they split, they came back together just to record that. But still, you see that you can tell that there's a refinement from this first meeting to the second and third meetings, which were the 2 sessions for Kind of Blue later next year. There are many versions of the songs, but I think this is a clever way to put those 4 songs together in a nice package. But I think it's a winner. I'm really happy with this record. Played many times since I got it, and it's an amazing pressing, an amazing presentation package with so much to read and learn about the process, about the band. So I give it a highly recommended. I really liked it. And let me know what you think on your comments. If you got one, if you're thinking about getting one, why yes or why not getting one. So just let me know. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. See you next.